On your eating come our channel, so I have a GH Politics Avenue. Podcast or friend of me make headlines, need to be a sumo, need him, Yumbo Enra a year highway cinema, them are any asem Kotoakra. Onyana a year big push agenda, His Excellency John Romani Mahama at the bar, say Umbeboa, Yapanya Titia Pansam, Omo at Tumboa CSEC, about your water, NPP for say contracts ni be so sourcing senti omo NTC. Na omo hwehwe nkrata mu no omo ehu se NPP abra na omo wo eye aban mu no omo award contract e de ma contractors a onua chese contractors na omo de contracts ni e ma wo mu no omo anya nhihye papa bia nto ho ekwanya omo befa so omo tuo mu ka the same chiro mbae no e ka say damn. And His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the Finance Minister at Forson. A good omukoma, onya, omuhumete, just a nyasa botwa. Na omu abomu humadia, etwebi, omugusua, etwetwia, no kasei, omu ajemre, a year, key point swa, ene omuboy chilum, yamon ransom.
Then we had over about 60 billion Ghana cedis of arrears. That is arrears that came as a result of works done. So IPCs that were waiting for payment. That was about 60 billion. But commitment, like the contracts that they were distributing contracts like Massa. They were just simply signing contracts and giving people projects without any plan as to how to pay those contracts.
So what's happening to this? Have you made payments? This 60 billion cedis you talk about?
Exactly. The finance minister, together with His Excellency the President, has facilitated for over 10 billion of the arrears that we inherited to be paid last year alone. And that is the single biggest arrears that any government in the history of this country has ever paid to contractors in this country. You can imagine inheriting arrears of about 50 billion, and within 1 year, you have paid more than 10 billion of that. It has actually, energized the industry and given a lot of confidence to contractors in the industry that we indeed mean business when we say that when they execute works, we will not allow payments to delay.
This 13.9 billion that you allocated in the 2025 budget, how much of that has been expended?
I didn't get that.
This 13.9 billion, that's what you announced in the 2025, the mid-year at least.
Right.
How much of that has been expended? How much of that have you paid contractors from? How much is left going into this year?
Well, so what it is that the big push projects were captured under a different budgetary arrangement. Some arrangement, but you see, it was for good reason that we, at the point, decided that mobilization was not necessary, and we will come to that. Alfred, in selecting some of these contractors, we were mindful of the debt that we owed them. Because when we inherited governance, we inherited it with assets and liabilities. And at the road sector, we had an over 50 billion, arrears that we inherited. And so we were looking at the contractors who were owed and why they were owed. And we found out that some of these contractors had actually carried out very impressive works in their country, but were not paid. Their capacity was not in doubt. Their quality of work was not in doubt, and their inability to move to site was simply because, they were not paid. In fact, some of them were already on projects that had come to a standstill because of lack of payment.
I see.
And so we decided that if we wanted them to be on big push, and we committed to paying them the arrears, then there was really no need giving them mobilization, because it is resources that they wanted to go to site. So if, for example, a contractor is owed 1 billion Ghana cedis, and the contractor has an ongoing project or not, doesn't even have an ongoing project,
yes,
and you want such a contractor to do a big push project, what is the sense in leaving the arrears of 1 billion and giving the contractor 500 million mobilization?
Okay.
When the debt is still in your books, why don't you rather pay maybe the 1 billion and then, urge the contractor to mobilize to start to work and start work so that when he raises a certificate, you will pay within time so that it will no longer be an arrest.
But
So
how much in total value did you inherit in terms of the inherited contracts from the previous administration? How much? Do you have
in
an
terms
idea?
of, well, for example, I know that we had a commitment basis of about 100 billion Ghana cedis.
100 billion
100
Ghana
billion,
cedis.
over 100 billion Ghana cedis, commitment basis.
To award road contracts through sole sourcing, which has become a big matter of conversation this particular week on the back of what the Fourth Estate put out after some information we understand that was requested of the Roads and Highways Ministry, in fact, was giving, and then also the details that was gleaned out of that particular information pointing to the number of road contracts awarded through sole sourcing. This is a big agenda for the NDC government, the big push, big money, but is this sole sourcing decision a big issue? Those are the big things that we're talking about. Big agenda, big push, big money, $10 billion that's allocated to this between 2025 and 2028. That's how much government has estimated to spend in executing this big agenda of the big push with this big money, $10 billion. What we've seen over the period, and based on the information that both the Finance Ministry and then also the Ministry of Roads and Highways has been giving, this is the allocation yearly for this big push that has been projected. Last year, we saw some 13.9 billion Ghana cedis that was allocated in the budget when the Finance Minister read the mid-year budget review for the big push. We're going to be finding out how much of this amount has been spent, this 13.9 billion, because remember, these are allocations, but it doesn't necessarily mean that maybe all the full amount of 13.9 billion would be, as it were, disbursed. So we'll be finding out exactly how much has been spent as of now from this 13.9 billion. How many contractors have been paid? How much have they been paid? And then this year, we're seeing in this budget, it's an allocation of a little over 17 billion Ghana cedis. 2027, over 19.3 billion. 2028, over 21 billion. That is what we're going to be expecting, all things being equal, in the allocation to this big push project. And because of the big monies involved in this big push, obviously, you would expect that eyes and ears and questions about accountability would obviously be a focus of attraction. And that's why this conversation is important this morning. If you look at how things have been playing out regarding this particular big push, based on the information that we have, the new road projects, as the minister keeps referring to that, the new big push, 54 road projects would be constructed under this big push. Total 54. That's about 55 billion Ghana cedis that has been costed. And then those road projects that were inherited from the previous administration, that's about 23 of them the ministry has identified, would be continued and completed. And the cost they put to it is a little over 15 billion Ghana cedis. And we're going to get some more details as we go on regarding these numbers that I'm putting out. So 54 new projects under this new big push, 23 inherited from the previous administration. And these are the funding sources. Because you recall that last year when we were asking questions about the funding source for the big push, right from the campaign period of or ahead of the election 2024, when the NDC was talking about the big push and then the big monies that were allocating to it, and then when we got to know as well, when the media budget review was read and then that $10 billion was put out, we asked questions, where are you going to get the money? Then they pointed us to these sources, 3 of them. 1, the mineral royalties. 2, the annual budget funding amount. That's the money that we get as a country from the oil revenue that we allocate for specific projects. Government has the prerogative to decide where they put that ABFA. 24% of that money from the annual budget funding amount is going to be pushed into the big push. Then the government of Ghana also putting out some amount of money as well into the big push. But questions we're going to be finding answers to is that these mineral royalties that we're banging our hopes on, we've seen that gold has brought us a lot, at least. Last year we saw how much gold brought into the economy, or 21 billion. Now, what we are seeing this period, at least for the last 3 weeks, we've been tracking the price of gold on the world market. It's been declining. So what's the fallback plan for government? So much that if this projected amount that they expect from mineral royalties, all things being equal, if we see mineral royalties not going as high as suspected, if gold doesn't bring out this much, and then we've seen what's happening with cocoa as well. Crude oil, at least, we've seen crude oil prices trend upwards because of what's happening between the US, Israel, and Iran. When that happens, government revenue from oil goes up, but then we see the price of petroleum products as well going up at the pumps. It affects our pocket. But when it comes to government revenue, it's going to go up. So these 3 funding sources is what government has told us they're looking at for the big push. Now, the big question for the big push with the big money is the decision for the sole source of some 44% of the contracts, the road contracts awarded by this administration. What's the big issue there? That's what we're going to be finding out this morning. Joining us is Honorable Andrew Ejapa Kofi Mensah, is the former 2nd D Member of Parliament, also the former Deputy Energy Minister, former Minister in charge of Tourism, and he's joining us in the studio. Honorable Andrew Ejapa Mensah, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Morning. It's always a pleasure to be here. It's been a long while.
It has been a long while.
Because of your character, we have to stay up for a while.
We've always been friends. We've always been friends. You perceive something differently. But it's good to have you. It's good to have you.
Sure. Pleasure to be here.
Perfect. Also joining us is Martin Pebu, is private legal practitioner. Also the convener of the Kumi Preko Reloaded demonstration, is joining us, a member of the oral preparatory team. Council, good morning.
Morning. Excuse me. Morning, Mr. Okansi. Yeah, it's good to be here once again. And like we always say, this is Ghana's #1 talk show, unparalleled and uncontested. And as usual, we will do a bit of the rituals. Yeah, we want to thank Toby Afede, right? We all remember the days when Akufo-Addo had us by the, excuse my French, balls. He did what he wanted of us, but a few of our citizens stood up. And Toby is one of those, right? Yeah, he spoke his mind. He showed the bad governance. We also thank Yasantuaso for Akufo-Addo's own relation, who could tell Ghanaians that this Akufo-Addo's governance was bad. Yeah, notwithstanding the fact that she had been made Chief Justice and she's a relation. And that's what we want to continue to repeat, to urge Ghanaians to be more objective. Let's not think about the stomachs alone. Let's not think about our wives and kids alone. But the Ghana project is more important. The same to Osi Adeyo Ajimambedu, the 2nd Domahini, and Kentucky Teku through the 2nd Gamanche. Right, now men above 40, please do the proceed check. Yeah, we'll continue to announce so that, we can avoid needless deaths. Right?
It's important.
And then finally, people who pee outside, right? Men and women, please stop. You know, we've gone past those days. Find a bottle for the guys, okay? Put it in your car. You don't have a car, put it in your back, this is sack, right? Yeah, so that when the need arises, you can use it. But to pee outside in the full glare of other people, it's not on. Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone, Andre Japaveza is looking at you in a state of wonder. He's wondering. No, but this advocacy.
He said it when we went to Sammy Gentry's in-laws funeral. He said when we meet on the program, he was going to crash me. So I can imagine that he's prepared.
I'm not sure we had any such conversation. But I watch you from time to time, and you don't cease to amaze me. You know.
Yes, that's the democracy.
I'm not so sure whether that in itself necessarily is democracy. Look, the way and manner with which you describe Akufo-Addo's governance, your view, I disagree.
That's it. So that's democracy.
Because, but we can be, if you like, much more civil in our attacks. Look. Anyway, let's
all right.
Let's proceed.
The Honorable Al-Hassan Suhini is also with us.
I didn't know that election results were a measure for necessarily people's governance style. Because we have Mr. Mahama, he lost miserably in 2016. Today he's president again.
Because you came and performed worse, you resurrected Mama. So that's a problem.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
It's going to be a long day, I can see.
Thank you very much. Indeed. Honorable Al-Hassan Suhini is Deputy Minister in charge of roads and highways. Honorable Al-Hassan Suhini, thank you so much.
Alfred, thank you very much for having me. But I don't think that it is fair for my friend and brother Ejapa Mensah to describe the opinions of lawyer Martin as uncivilized. I mean, to say that it's uncivilized, exactly. I think that
that's why they lost. It's no problem. That's why they lost.
Yes, okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Let's now keep focused.
Right.
Thank you. Now, there's a reason why we got you in here, and it's for good reason, for that matter, because of some of the issues that have come with this big push. But before we start going into the meat of the decision about sole sourcing and so on, where are we with the big push agenda? This all of these projects that you outlined, where are we with, just generally?
Well, thank you very much once again, Okansi, and good morning to my colleagues on the panel. And I must say that Black People is looking very sharp.
Absolutely.
I like the outfits this morning. And let me say good morning to our viewers, especially the very good people of the Tamale North constituency. And Alfred, I can say that as we speak, all these projects are at various levels of completion. There is no project that has been awarded under the big push that currently is not being pushed bigly. Almost all the contractors are on site and are at various stages of works. I know the last time, I think a couple of weeks ago, we at the ministry invited the contractors to give us an update. In fact, these are not projects that are awarded and, left until when we are expecting contractors to finish work before we go to inspect. So we invited them to give us an update of progress of work. And they came around, and the contractor at the time, a couple of weeks ago, that was leading in terms of works done, had already reached about 50% of completion. And for us, that is very impressive. And we encourage those contractors who were, in our view, per their presentation, performing very well, to continue with those good works. Those that we had issues with, we even threatened at the time to terminate some of those projects. And we wrote letters, warning letters, to those that were not impressed with, as far as the progress of work was concerned. And so these are contracts or projects that His Excellency the President is not toying with. And contractors who are, fortunate enough to be part of this agenda are fully aware that this government means business. And because there are no qualms about, terminating these projects, we are not toying with quality, we are not toying with pace. And we have the assurance also that the finance minister will do good and honor the promise of paying these works on time. And so many contractors, I'll tell you, haven't seen the level of supervision that they are seeing now over these projects. Quite apart from the presentation in the office, we also outlined a plan to go to the field. So we're not just going to take their word for it. And so we started the field tour, and then we got word that His Excellency the President himself wanted to be part of it. And that is how
going to the field.
Exactly. That is how come we paused ours and began the tour with him in the Brong-Ahafo region only recently when he went there. So he himself has indicated that he wants to be on the field with us to see for himself how the contractors are performing.
When you announced that you're not going to be paying mobilization, some of the contractors that we spoke to raised issues with that. Are you still sticking with that decision not to pay mobilization?
Well, there has been.
We ain't some who team course watching on the so, mammy, and I was so jebre. That's an so bad India don't be a dominion. We have the same issue.